This is Max Reynolds. I'm here interviewing my grandmother, and she is exceptionally beautiful. And so, Grandma,
What is your grandmother's name?
Doreen Lomas Reynolds.
Okay.
Grandma, what was it like being a teenager in the UK?
When I was a teenager, that was in, let me see, what year was it?
45.
45?
That would have been 1945.
About
You would have been
45,
13.
46. More like 45 or 46. I was in high school in England, which I started when I was 13, and was there, and it was a segregated high school, which they had quads, and boys were on one side, and the girls were on the other, and I went that, they would go that way for 2 years. And anyway, it was interesting, very interesting. And if you have any questions about the way it was, we had separate classes for different subjects, of course, and we went our usual day of school, like I guess you do here. What other questions do you have about the school, or about my?
So, like, what activities did you do for fun as a teenager?
For fun? We had sports. We would have hockey during the winter months, and have netball, or be like basketball, but it wasn't. It was the net was up on a pole, and that's how we played netball, just like basketball, only netball. Called it netball. And that's what else? Oh, and swimming, of course. We went, we would swim. That was my strong point, was swimming, like you. I had, I won, we had houses that each class was divided. First, when you started high school, you were divided in different houses. I was in red, which was, oh boy, never thought the day would come. Anyway, oh, Florence Nightingale, yes, was named after famous women. And blue was something Fry. Anyway, and green was Margaret Beaufort, and yellow, I can't remember. But anyway, we were divided in houses, and whenever we got did an especially good job, we would get good points at the end of the month, and those would go to our house, which of course was Florence Nightingale for me, and we would it would add up, and by the end of the year, it would be put up on the board in the school as to what houses were won on different things. And I was swimming. That was what I wanted, was swimming. And of course I wasn't the swimmer that you are. Of course, I mean, I don't have the length of the body or arms like you have. But anyway, I'm just so proud of what you've done. What else can I tell you about it?
What about, did you have any, well, what about your job?
Job, after I finished school, I graduated when I was 14 or 15, I can't remember anymore. And I went to work in a cotton factory, in a spinning cotton. And sometime later I moved over and went to weaving with big looms. I think in the past I have shown my family, I don't know if they remember, the looms like I used to weave was, I wove, at one time I wove gingham, like yellow and white and red and white, green and white, blue and white, things like that. And then, let's see, later I did move, work on, I had a loom that had carpet materials that it was heavier weight thread, not that would be not. Anyway, can't remember what other things would be.
So what about like dating?
Food?
Dating?
Like
going out with someone?
Oh, I never did go out with anybody. I did have one boyfriend at one time. He was, oh, do I remember his name? I can't. Anyway, I was not very, most of the boys were just too, how would I say, frivolous and silly and sports and all that kind of stuff, and I wasn't. And anyway, and you said food?
Sure.
Huh?
Food.
Food, what kind of food though? Of course, always like fish and chips in England. And we used to have these little homes that were like built into stores that you had fish and chip shops, they called them. And it was usually open at noon, around noon, and in the evening meal, like starting about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and you would buy fish and chips, and they'd wrap it up in newspaper and plastic paper, I guess you call it, that you would hold the fish and chips in, and you'd go down the street eating fish and chips. Anyway, too bad Your Papa isn't here to get answer some of these questions. He'd remember better than I do. Anyway, but food, favorite foods and that. I used to like trifle.
Like what?
Trifle.
What is that, Mom? Tell 'em.
A trifle is like making, like you'd have if you had a big glass bowl, something like a punch bowl, you know, glass, you'd put, what we call custard or lemon pudding, and with like cake and cookies, you sprinkle up to go into that bottom part, and then you would have fruit, like mixed fruited, like you'd put in a can that had fruit, you know, peaches and
Fruit cocktail?
grapes, huh?
Fruit cocktail?
Fruit cocktail, that's what I was trying to think of. And you'd drain it, and you'd put a Jello, dissolve the Jello in with the liquid, and then you'd mix it together and put it in there, and put it on top of the cake and pudding custard there, and then the next thing you'd do would be make a whipped cream and put a layer of whipped cream, and that would be your topping. That was one of my favorite desserts. Anyway, what else do
Max, do you have any more questions for Grandma?
Of course, fish and chips always. I told you that, didn't I?
And fish and chips are in England are French fries, right?
Yes,
But you can't say French fries in England.
Because
They don't like the French.
Oh, yes, we do. Anyway, yeah.
So,
Talk loud so we can know what question.
what was church like? What?
Church? Oh, well, I know for a long time we lived on this street corner in a main street in town. And down the street was this, what you used to call a band hall. And we used to rent that band hall on Sundays for church. And we'd have to go in and clean it up because it was rented during the week to other things, like we'd have parties and like a band practice in there, and people would smoke, and then we'd have to sweep it out, and so that Sunday we'd have a place that was good enough for church. And I remember when your Papa came into my life, when he first came. It was in 1951 or 52, something like that. And I would always be taking what you call minutes, or like the secretary of the Sunday school, and writing down stuff like the guys do in the front of the church now. And the first time he came, he was in the hall, on one of the benches or chairs, and my Aunt Liza came to me afterwards and said, "That young man did not take his eyes off you all during the meeting. Now you mustn't have anything to do with him." But then she gave me her keys to her house to go up to her house and be in her house with him. She was so funny. Two-faced, or what would you call her? She was,
Talking at both ends of her mouth.
yes. Anyway.
Do you have any more questions, Max?
What what were parties like?
Parties. Now, no, we didn't used to have much parties. We'd have like things with church, like oh, what do you call extra meetings on
Activities.
Sunday, where people go and meet together?
A lunch or brunch or something, or
No, I'm thinking
Social?
fireside?
fireside or anyway, we'd go and meet in a home and have meetings and visits, you know, and that's what we do. I'm trying to remember how better to put it, like we call firesides. Call them firesides, remember? And
Do you have any more questions, Max?
Alright, so what particular board games did you play when you were a child?
both games. Checkers, that kind of thing. Play checkers.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember other things.
So what was your what have you read for pleasure? Like what was it like when like for reading
Reading?
back in the day?
Oh, I read, trying to remember the name of it. It was, Okay Girls, what's the name of it?
What's the question again?